So in the previous episode, we talked about how Jerusalem became the center of the Christian world, and how it was taken by the Persians and recovered back, and how difficult things had gotten for the Byzantine Empire since after recovering Jerusalem. And we said today we will be looking at the key things that brought the Arabs to Jerusalem's gate. So before we get started, please do like, follow, and subscribe our channels at Factos for more content like this. So let's dive right in. After Prophet Muhammad's death in 632, Caliph Abu Bakr first had to crush the Ridda Wars, rebellions across Arabia, 632-633. Once Arabia was unified under Islam, Abu Bakr immediately looked north. The Byzantine Empire, still recovering from the devastating 26-year war with Persia we discussed earlier, was seen as the biggest remaining threat to the new Muslim state. Byzantine border raids and their Arab Christian allies, the Ghassanids, had already clashed with Muslims at Mu'tah in 629. Abu Bakr decided it was time to remove that danger permanently and expand the caliphate. Another reason was the religious reason Jerusalem was special. Jerusalem, called Al-Quds, or the Holy, had been extremely important to Muslims from the very beginning. It was the first Qibla, direction of prayer, for Muslims. In 621, Prophet Muhammad made the night journey, Isra and Miraj, from Mecca to the farthest mosque, Al-Aqsa, in Jerusalem, then ascended to heaven. This event is in the Quran, Surah Al-Isra 17:1. Early Muslims viewed conquering the Holy Land as part of spreading Islam and fulfilling divine will, jihad. Jerusalem was never just another city. It was the third holiest place in Islam, after Mecca and Medina. Capturing it had huge symbolic and spiritual value. Another reason Abu Bakr and his men went to Jerusalem was the economic reason. Jerusalem was rich. Fertile farmland, trade routes, cities full of wealth. Conquering it meant jizya tax from non-Muslims, who were allowed to keep their faith under protection. Plunder and land for the warriors. Secure borders and new resources for the growing caliphate. Many Bedouin tribes who had just been unified were warrior societies. Redirecting their energy into these campaigns kept internal peace. With the Byzantine Empire being weak from the Persian war plague's shattered army, it was the perfect time for the Arabians to attack. In the spring of 634, the winds of destiny began to blow across the Arabian desert. The Ridda Wars had only just ended. Arabia, once fractured by rebellion after the Prophet's death, now stood united beneath the black banners of Islam. In Medina, the modest Caliph Abu Bakr, a man of gentle voice and iron will, knew the moment had arrived. Abu Bakr saw both opportunity and divine command. The faith must expand, and the northern threat must be removed. So, in the month of Rajab, around March-April, he summoned his greatest commanders. One by one they stood before him in the simple mosque, their faces tanned by desert sun, their eyes burning with purpose. He gave each a sealed letter of appointment and a clear route. 4 separate armies set forth from different points, like arrows loosed from a single bow, so the Byzantines could not guess where the main blow would fall. Amr ibn al-As rode west along the coastal road toward Gaza, his warriors kicking up dust clouds that stretched for miles. Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan took the central path through the hills. Shurabil ibn Hassana struck northward through the Jordan Valley. Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, the gentle giant known as the Trusted One, led the 4th force along the eastern route. As these columns marched, word reached Abu Bakr of a brilliant general still fighting in Iraq. Khalid ibn al-Walid, the undefeated Sword of God. The Caliph sent him urgent orders: abandon the Persian front, cross the waterless Syrian desert, and link up with the others. No one had ever attempted such a march with an army. Khalid accepted without hesitation. What followed was one of the most legendary feats in military history. In the blazing heat of late spring, Khalid led roughly 500 elite horsemen and 4,000 foot soldiers across 500 miles of merciless desert. They carried water in every skin and water skin they could find, rationing it to the last drop. Camels died, men suffered, yet Khalid's iron discipline held them together. They emerged suddenly near the Byzantine border like ghosts from the sands, catching the enemy completely by surprise. At a place called Marj al-Rahit, Khalid's vanguard smashed the first local Byzantine and Ghassanid Arab Christian forces that tried to block him. Meanwhile, Amr ibn al-As had already won the very first clash of the campaign, a sharp little battle near Gaza called Dathin in February, scattering a small Byzantine garrison and opening the road deeper into Palestine. The news spread like wildfire. The Muslim warriors, battle-hardened from the Ridda Wars, moved with terrifying speed and discipline. They did not loot villages or harm civilians who submitted. They offered peace and protection in exchange for the jizya tax. Many local Christian communities, long resentful of Byzantine heavy taxation and religious persecution, chose not to resist. By the end of that fateful spring, the four armies and Khalid's desert force had converged. They had seized key towns, cleared the countryside around Jerusalem, and stood poised for greater things. The Byzantines, still reeling in Constantinople, had no idea that a new power had just stepped onto the world stage. War looms near Jerusalem. Find out in our next episode about the Summer War, popularly called the Summer of Ajnadain, the first great clash. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and follow us on Factos.